at the moment, only 1 in 5 of the top jobs is held by a woman.
Well, the business secretary of Vince Cable's backed the idea of using all-female shortlists to ensure that companies appoint more women. Would this help or hinder equality in the boardroom?
Here to discuss this are Christina Patino from Bradford University's top School of Management and Sharon Thorne, who's a managing partner at Deloitte. Morning both. Thanks very much for joining us. Sharon, I'm interested, so you're a managing partner. That means you're on the board, does it, at Deloitte?
I'm on our executive and I am also on our board, and I run our business outside London.
Okay. And so how well are women represented, both on the executive and the board at Deloitte, for example?
I'm very proud of what we've achieved at Deloitte. So our board, 25% of the board members are women, and the executive, which is the group that run the business day to day, it's 19%. So it's, we've really moved the dial over the last few years.
Christina, is it reasonable to expect private companies to have all-female shortlists when they're appointing to an executive board?
Well, I think, although it is definitely a challenging thing, I think that I think it's wrong for women, I hear many times, to be against having quotas because they believe that there is going to be damage to their credibility. I think more women should look at it as a long-term game, in that we need to up the numbers within corporations to foster a network that's going to help women advance in the workplace overall.
So you think shortlists are the way forward then, do you?
I do.
Sharon, can companies be forced, though, to have a shortlist that consists only of women?
Well, my personal opinion is that I don't think it is the right idea. I think that quotas and that sort of approach are forcing companies to do things and can make them consider that the women that they're appointing onto their boards are not as good as men, which isn't necessarily true, but that's a perception we don't want. I actually think it's better to have targets and encourage companies to take positive action.
Well, what level do you think is a reasonable target?
I think Lord Davis came out and said 25%, which I think is a really, really good ambition. And then there's the 30% group, which say it should be 30%. And we've joined that group, which is what we're aiming to get. But it's not just at board level, I think, that is important. I think it's the level where, which is the executive groups, key management teams that run businesses. And the top 100 companies over the last few years have moved the number of women on boards from 12% to 20%, which is great. But if you look at the executive team, it's only moved from 5.5% to 7%, which is not great. So the sort of women taking key decisions in the business, there's just not enough there.
Christina, that's interesting, that percentage. Also, interesting what Sharon said, that the perception can be, if there are these shortlists, that the women are there because they're women, then rather than they're there because they're excellent at their job. They're really good at their job.
Yeah, I understand that, but I think it's really wrong to think that it would be too much of a challenge to find equally qualified women that could take over these positions. And I think the figures show that targets really overall aren't as effective as quotas would be. Though there have been quotas enacted in Spain, Italy, France, and Norway actually was very successful in a scheme that took place 10 years ago, where they upped their women in board level positions from 10% to 40% in just 10 years.
The duty of a company, though, is not to gender equality or to affirmative action. It's to get a reward for its shareholders. That's job number one, isn't it?
It is. If I could just, there's a number of research articles have confirmed that actually companies that have more women on their boards are more profitable and more successful, deliver a better return for shareholders. So I do think there is evidence that confirms it's better, and also diversity generally is better in terms of sort of solving complex problems and innovation. So, we should have more diverse boards.
I know I'm sort of reversing the argument, but Sharon, why is it that it doesn't happen anywhere? What is it within those, within the sort of recruitment process and all the rest of it that means that women aren't getting to the top? Is it the culture? What do you think it's been?
I mean, my view is that unconscious bias plays a key role. It's not, I don't think there's a deliberate glass ceiling. I just think that there are a number of factors that impact. We're hardwired to prefer people who look like us and sound like us and have similar interests. So if everyone at the top of an organisation is white and male, then it's almost inevitable that the people they bring through look like them.
Christina, in the United States, affirmative action's worked, has had results certainly in the public sector. Has it worked in the private sector as well?
I believe it has. Now, it has been very controversial. Of course, it still remains controversial to this day, but I've been personally involved in networks that worked with companies that use affirmative action, such as Management Leadership for Tomorrow, where they look to foster a community of minority students, or rather high potential business people that want to become MBA students, because that's sort of, in America, that's how you fast track your career to board level positions. And I know many people personally that have benefited from that organization and through working with major companies that enact affirmative action policies, and they're in some very top positions right now.
All right. Christina Patino and Sharon Thorne, thank you both very much. Thank you.
Thank you. It is a 1:45